Hi, this is Griffpatch and welcome back to the next part of my tutorial on how to make a scrolling platformer in Scratch. Today we're going to be looking at adding in the exit. This is the exciting little portal at the end of the game where once you've collected all the collectibles, it opens up and you jump into it and it whizzes off and it goes on to the next level. We're going to see how far of that we can do today. So where we left off from last week, we're now running in Scratch 3. We were looking at the death problem that we had, and we fixed that. So now what we need to do is add in the end. So when we collect these, they'll have a little portal at the end. Let's see. So what we can do, let me just make this little screen smaller so we have a bit more space. Okay, so let's begin. What we need to do is actually add in an exit first. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to clone the collectibles sprite, or duplicate, sorry, not clone, duplicate, right click and duplicate. Okay, and we're going to call this exit, like so. This is all a little bit different from Scratch 2, so you get used to this idea of how you rename things and things, but that's how you do it in a little box. Okay, so what have we got to do now? First of all, I guess we've got to draw the portal. So let's go into costumes. We're going to do it very similar to how we drew the collectibles. What we actually can do probably is just select that and make it bigger. If you hold down Alt, just so you know, the ALT key, and drag the corner, it resizes from the middle rather than from the edge, which is quite useful. So we can resize it to the size we want. And I'll make the middle big again. I can hold down Alt while dragging the corner. So something like that. And let's change the colors. So the outside glow, let's go to the drop down the colors here. And we're on radial fill already, the circular one. We want to swap around these two colors. We want the transparent to be on the outside, like that. And we want the inside to be around 50, which is right. And then 40 for saturation. Drag that down to about 40. Yeah. And then brightness, let's put that right down to 40. So it's just a dull glow like that around the edge. That's good. Click onto the middle part. And this one, let's click again on there. We want it to be, actually, no, we don't want a radial fill for this. We want a solid fill. Do that. This is a closed portal. And we want the outline to be one color and the inside to be black. So let's just make that fill black first. Click on outline and we'll make this the same color as the glow, which is color 50, this saturation 40, and the brightness 40, like that. Okay, maybe make our outline a little bit thicker as well. Let's make that into 4. Try that. Zoom in. Yeah, there we are. Little outline of 4. Good. So that's a closed portal. Now we need an open portal. So if we duplicate this costume like that. Now for the open one, what we want to do is change the color of the inside, and let's change it to fill, and we'll have a linear gradient fill, which is this one here. And the left side we're going to set to, again, 50. That's the color we like, so kind of blue color. Saturation of 40 and brightness of 100, nice and bright like a sky. And the bottom color of the fill we want to be white, which is brightness 100 and saturation 0. That's it, like that. Blue to white. There, beautiful portal. I like that very much. Okay, so that's our little portal drawn. Let's give these costumes names. We'll call the open one open, and we'll call the closed one closed. There we go, nice and simple. Right, so what do we do now? Now we want to be able to position that portal on our level. Now this is going to be done just the same as we did our little collectibles back in goodness knows which part of our tutorial. Seems so long ago now. But to do that, it's this bit of script inside the exit, which we have duplicated from the collectibles. So it's positions that we want to position our portal in. And we've still got our little clever M key which hopefully you remember, which is going to tell us where to put something. So if we run the project, okay, we'll go all the way to the end, and we want to put our portal just here, floating at the end of the level. So put the mouse where you want it to be and press M, and hopefully, if everything is still working, our little script will have shown where we want to place this. So type these numbers into the first clone at, so 944 and by 22. Okay, that's in there. Now we do not want any of these other clones because we only want one portal, so that'll pop that there. So we should better give that a little quick check if we run it. There we go, portal is there, closed, great. Right, what's our next step? Let's hide that mouse there because we don't want that anymore. So go into variables and get rid of that mouse. Good. Okay, so we've reached the end of the level and the portal is shut. We need this to open when we've collected all of the collectibles. But to know whether we've collected them all, we need to know how many there were to begin with. So we need to have a record of that added to the game. So if we click into the collectibles sprite, and we'll add a new variable for all sprites. So we'll type this in capital letters again so we know. We're going to call it collected max. Okay, so this is the maximum number that you can collect. Click OK. Okay, now at the beginning that's 0, but we'll set it to 0 as well. We'll do it just here under the set collected, and we'll set collected max to 0 as well. Okay, and now in here we're going to be cloning our new collectibles. So if we keep track of every time we clone one by putting a change into here like this, change collected max by 1. So if we run that now, collected max is 5, and the amount we've collected is 0. So as we go through the level, collected goes up, collected max stays the same, of course, and now collected max and collected are the same. So at this point, we want this portal to open. So let's stop the scripts. Now where are we going to put this? This bit of script we're going to add to the code where, here we go, in the when received tick. This is where we are checking to see if the collectible is touching the player, and we're changing the amount of collected by 1. So in here, we can add an if statement just underneath the change collected. Make sure that delete is underneath the if, not inside it. And we need to compare using an equals operator that collected variable, is equal to collected max. So at the point that you've collected all of the collectibles, then we can do something, and we'll use an event. We'll broadcast in here like that, and we'll broadcast a new message, and this message is going to be open portal, like so. Okay, and that we can receive in the portal sprite. So go into the portal sprite, and we'll add in the new receiver down here, which is going to be open portal. And in here we need to switch the costume. So looks, switch costume to, guess what? Open. Okay, so that should open the portal. Should we give that a go? It's quite an exciting change. So here I am testing the level. I'm collecting all the collectibles. I'm going to miss this one. Right, the portal is closed. And on collecting this little collectible, it opens. Yay, that's great. And now what we need to do is make the script for when we go into the portal that the level will end. At present, I can collect it because it's just a duplicate of the collectible sprites, which is obviously not right. So stop this and let's go and fix that. So in the exit sprite, let's find the bit where we can collect it. Here we go. So in the tick receiver, we've got if touching player, and then change collected by 1 and delete the portal, which is not what we want. So we can get rid of that. So this is where the scripts are going to go. Now, one important difference here is we don't want this touching to work if the portal is closed. So we need to put an operator, and we put an and in here. Now let's replace the touching here with that and put the touching into the second part of the and. Now on the left side, we need to check that the costume, if we go down in the looks, we'll find a costume here. And we need, back to the operators, we need an equals. So costume number equals, now we can either do costume number equals 2, because if you look in costumes, it's costume number 2 is the open one, or we can use the name open, which is a new Scratch 2 thing. So we can change the name and put open in there. So up to you which you do there, costume name or costume number. We'll try a name because that makes it a little bit more clear what's going on in the scripts rather than a number 2. And when that happens, what do we need to do? Well, it's the moment we need to set a variable exit, just like we do when we die. But we're going to set it to, rather than being die, we're going to set it to win. And at the moment in our scripts, that probably won't do anything different to how we die, because I think we set it up so that it would, anything happens and with that exit variable, it just kills us. But let's try it anyway. Okay, let's test this. If I rush through this level, and I'm going to not collect them all, I'm going to miss one, so that we have a closed portal, and I jump through it, and I don't go through, perfect, it's closed. If I run through, and this time I collect them all, and then jump in, I die, which is exactly what I want, because at the moment, when I set anything in the exit variable, our player sprite will kill us, which is what we set. Here we go. When exit is anything other than blank, we die. So we need to change this now so that we can do more than just die at the end. So let's change this a little bit down here. Let's add in an if-else condition around this die. Ooh, can I even get it in the right place? No, I cannot. Never mind. Let's move that out. Pop that in there like that. There we go. So what we're going to do is put the die in the second part of the if, in the else part. And this condition here is going to check to see whether we've won. So put an equals operator in there. Find the exit variable in one side and put win in the right hand side. Okay, so when we finish the game, because the exit's been set, we then check if exit is win and we'll do this. And if it's not win, we assume we're going to die. Now let's create a new custom block for when we win. So let's call this game win. And we won't run without screen refresh. Leave that unchecked. And drag in your new game win into this side. Okay, so when we exit and win, we go into win, otherwise we're going to die. Let's move our game win over here where we can script up a nice new bit of code. There we go. This is quite an exciting bit, and as you saw in the demo at the beginning of this tutorial, I had this little animation where the player would whiz around the exit and go into it. Now that's quite a nice little feature, so let's have a go at implementing that. So what we're going to add in here is a repeat loop for 50 frames of animation. That's how long it's going to take us to get into the middle of the portal. And then we add in a point towards, and we're going to point towards the exit, like that. Then we shall turn our player by 65 degrees. Okay, so what this is doing is we point our little character towards the middle, so he's facing towards it. So if we move forward, he would move straight towards the exit. But then we turn him away from the exit by 65 degrees, which moves us into kind of this direction. And what that means is that we're actually moving kind of around the exit. So let's do that. And we want to move forwards. And now this is a bit more interesting too, because as you're on the outside of the portal, you move fast. As you go in, you move slower because you're going in. So what we need to do is have an operator, put a divide in there. And then you want which one is it? Sensing? Yep. Distance to, and put distance to portal, exit, sorry, in there, and divide it by 2. So we're moving forward by half the distance that we're away from the portal. And then other things we want to do is change our player's size. So it looks like we're going into the portal. So go to looks again, change size by, and we'll put -1 in there to get smaller by a little bit each time. And we'll also make him fade out as he goes into it. So we want to change, it's not going to be color, we want it to be ghost to make him getting more and more invisible. And we'll do that by 2. So that should do a little animation of us whizzing round and round the portal. And then at the end of this, we are going to change our level by 1 to get us on to the next level. And add one more thing, which is a wait of 1 second at the end. One more thing, sorry, we also need to hide ourselves after we've done our repeat before we do any waiting. So shall we give this a go and see what happens? Okay, so let's get to the portal, jump in. No, that most certainly did not work. So you can see even I have bugs in my code. So the reason for that I already know is that in our exit scripts, if we look at our clone at here, when we are setting up our level, we clone a new portal at this position that we wanted it at. But the problem is, if we're using clones, then our scripts in our player, which was trying to rotate around the portal, don't work because they're looking at the position of the main sprite for the exit, not a clone. So we want to get rid of this create clone because we don't actually need clones for the portal. We just want to use a normal sprite and position it. Also, what we need to do is remove this set X at the bottom of the setup, because now we're not using clones, so we want our position to be exactly what we set in here. Let's run that again. Oh, hold on, I'm tiny and upside down. That's not quite what I was after. Let's stop that and fix that too. Now the reason that's happened is our little animation did start to run and it's changed us, but we haven't got any scripts in the player sprite to make ourselves the right size at the beginning of the game. So let's go through to the game on where it shows us, and let's set our size to be 100%. Here we go. So set size to 100 there. And we're also upside down, which shouldn't be happening. So let's have a look at fixing that. What you want to do, go into the player direction, click on that, and let's change it not to be rotating, but to be flipping left and right instead. And that will keep us the right way up. So that should be right. Okay, let's have another go. Run that. Okay, we're back to normal. Let's collect all of the collectibles like that and jump in. Yay! Far better. And we are now on level 2. Level 2 doesn't look very good, does it? So we've got some work to do there. So let's just come back to the editor. And just for starters, let's just add in a little bit of level 2 so that we can see that it works. So to do that, let's go into costumes on platforms. And for now, let's duplicate our level 1 like so, put it at the end, and we'll call it level space 2 space 1. So this is level 2 and the first part of it. And let's just make it a little bit different so we can tell. I'll just make it slightly rounded like that. And what we also need to do is go into the exit code. To avoid having this portal appear in the middle of the level, let's just add in a clone portal. Let's just clone it to the right of the level. So that would be about 240, I think. Now click on the platform sprite. Okay, and now what we need to do is add in a level 2 script in the setup. So just duplicate the if inside the else part, and we can have a check for level 2 in here. We'll set level to be level 2, 1. Get rid of that. We don't even need the clone part. So it's just setting the costume to 2, 1, because that will position our first part of our level at that position. And the same needs to be done in danger, of course. So duplicate the if into the else, check for level 2, and we're going to set the costume, but we haven't got a costume for that yet. So let's just create a new one, blank costume, called level 2, 1. And we'll set that in here as well. Good. Let's give that a whirl. Now we're getting somewhere. So the only thing left is our little character. Is completely invisible. He must be there, I can move. So why is he not? It's because when we did our player fading out, we faded him to nothing using ghost, but we never set him back so that he was visible. So show won't do it. You need to set ghost to 0 in there. So on game on, we're setting his size, setting his ghost to 0, and we're showing him. I think that will have fixed everything and we'll be in a much better place. There we go, level 2. Very good. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got this far. That was a little bit of a hairy episode, I think. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll come back next time. Bye now.